Hi, this is Sally, and welcome to Heart of a Soul. I want to thank everybody that's liking, subscribing, and sharing these videos. I hope that you continue to do so. I wanted to acknowledge that I didn't post a video last week. So the idea is to post one at the beginning of the week, another one at the end of the week, and then I have to skip a week because I have other priorities and responsibilities and projects that I'm working on. So I gotta try to find a good balance between everything that I'm working on. So if you're a little bit patient with me, I will try to get out as much content as possible. So with that being said, I wanted to go ahead and get into the next topic, which is a little bit of a sensitive subject for me because it is something that I'm working through right now. And I think it's important to share it with you as I work through it so that you guys know you're not alone. We're all going through something, and not to give up. You know, that's the biggest part of all this. That was the point of my channel, that it doesn't have to be perfect. And I call it my messy middle because I'm still trying to get it together, you know, and I feel it's important to share it with you guys because sometimes we're ashamed of where we came from and what we're doing to get to where we're going, but we shouldn't be, because as long as we know where we're going, what we're doing, and who we're doing it for, that's all that matters. So don't be ashamed of who you are and what you're doing. We all have our own story. We all have our own journey. And I encourage you to just continue to follow your path. So today I'm going to be talking about abandonment. And abandonment not only stems from the absence of somebody or the loss of somebody, but also the absence of something that we needed, maybe as a child. Maybe we were emotionally neglected. Our feelings were dismissed because we were just kids. What did we know? But these are things that kids need. They need to be acknowledged. They need to know that, you know, maybe you didn't get it right this time, but, you know, we're going to try harder next time, right? And like what I was just saying a minute ago, not to give up. And those are things that we need well into our adulthood. And if we don't get those as children, we start feeling like we don't matter, we're not good enough, nobody's paying attention anyways. And those are things that could lead to having this sense of abandonment. And the reason why this got brought up for me was because I recently went through a breakup and it hurt so bad. And as bad as it hurt, I couldn't be mad at him, and I couldn't understand why. Why can't I be mad at this man that just broke my heart? And it didn't make sense, because it would have made more sense if I was angry, right? It would have made way more sense if I had that emotion, but I didn't, and I couldn't, and I didn't understand why. So I went within, started asking myself, and I started asking God, why can't I be mad at him? So it's not the breakup that hurt. It was, so after about a week of praying, it finally came to me that I was afraid of being alone. So again, I go within and I ask myself, why am I afraid of being alone? Why? I have my kids, I have my family, I have a career, I got a lot of good things going for me. I know I don't need a man, so why am I afraid of being alone? And then again, I realized I hadn't been single in 17, almost 18 years. And in that time, I had two toxic relationships. And prior to that, I was a teenager, but I was really cold and distant. And I didn't care to have a boyfriend. And even when I got pregnant at 16, me and his father weren't in a relationship, and I didn't care to be in a relationship. I didn't care about him. I didn't care about what he was doing or trying to be a family with him, because my heart was hard. And but there were two extremes. So in my earlier childhood, as a teenager, I wanted to be alone. I didn't want no man to tell me what to do or try to tell me what to do. And I would push people away because I'll push them away before they get to leave me. And then when I started to get older and have these relationships, I clung to them for dear life, even if they were bad for me. And so I started reading about codependency. And in my previous relationship, I knew that I was codependent on him. And but I didn't necessarily feel that way about my more recent relationship. But I had to stop and ask myself, when I started realizing all these, how much of that was I bringing into my new relationship? And it's not so much that I thought I was codependent on him, but it was the habits that I created that I brought into my relationship. So it looked that way. It looked like I wasn't paying attention to myself, and I was loving the other person more than myself, and willing to take care of them more than I was willing to take care of myself. And I think he noticed that. And giving the great guy that he is, he wanted to make sure that I got back to myself, and that I started giving myself the love and attention that I needed from myself and for myself. So like you heard me talk about before, my biological father abandoned us before I was even born. And now I went through life thinking, I don't know him. Why do I care about him? He doesn't care about me. And when I was around, and so this was my earlier childhood, like growing up until the age of 9, when we finally got into contact with him, but he was in prison. So he spent the next couple of years sending letters and talking about how he loved us and missed us, and how we're going to do all these great things and go to all these fun places when he gets out. And we even went to go see him like 2 or 3 times. And when he was finally released, I didn't know. I remember by this time I was about 15. And I remember sitting in the room talking to my aunt when she told me that he was released and deported 3 months ago. 3 fucking months went by, and this dude didn't bother to call, didn't bother to write, say anything that he was out. And like I said, I was 15, so I remember all that pain. I remember feeling like I was abandoned again. And fuck him. He doesn't get that part of me. I don't know him. He don't care about me. I don't care about him. Fuck it. My heart was hard. Cold as ice. And I felt like I wasn't good enough. I started to feel like I wasn't good enough. I started to feel like I wasn't good enough to be loved. My mother didn't pay attention to me. So by this time I was already acting out. I didn't have a place in my family. I was the only girl with 3 brothers. My parents were always tired from work, so I don't remember having a whole lot of fun conversations with them, and just feeling like my mom made me feel like my feelings didn't matter because I was just like this crazy emotional teenager, and so a lot of my feelings got disregarded. So all of that put together with being abandoned twice, emotionally neglected, and sexually abused, like I was hard. My heart was hard, and I didn't give a fuck about anybody. And but not even being a mother And this created a hole inside of me. It created an emptiness that even being a mother couldn't fill. And I wasn't a good mother for a long time. And when I was there with him, I bathed him and fed him and clothed him. But every chance I got, I wanted to be out of that house. And trying to fill that emptiness with anything and everything that I could possibly imagine. So I was doing drugs and I was going to parties, and while I had this baby back at the house that needed me, and I was so broken and hurt. That I couldn't even do anything for him. And around 19, I started having something like a relationship. And when I realized he was I was having feelings for him, I left him because I found any excuse to, hurt him before he hurt me. And maybe about a year or so went by before I had another relationship, and that was my first toxic relationship, and it was bad. And we fought, and we would get drunk and fight some more, and he cheated on me, but he gave me attention and affection, and he bought me things and took me places, and I thought that he loved me. But like I said, he constantly cheated on me, but I was still holding on to him for dear life, and I would cook and I would clean for him and did everything I could to make him stay. But about after 3 years of that, and I knew I had to leave, and I was in a bad place. I didn't have a job, no money, and a cheating ass boyfriend. So I broke up with him, and the very next day I met my kid's father, and he didn't have a job, he didn't have no money, but I didn't care, because again, he was giving me attention that I never really had before. And but he had no ambition. He had dreams, but no motivation to make things happen. So 3 kids and 14 years later, I had to leave him. And I knew that I hadn't been single for a long time, but I thought it was because it just happened like that. But really it was because I was so afraid of being alone that I stayed in these no growth, low vibe situations for some dumb reason. I thought it happened how it happens. This is who you're with, and you work on it and you stick it out, and that was some backwards ass thinking, and I did not want to pass that on to my children. I didn't want my daughter to think that she had to lower her standards or settle because that's just who she happened to meet that day. And I didn't want my sons to think that a woman should know her place, and just deal with the man's bullshit. And it's not like that. But it was with me, but it's been with me 23 years since I heard that my father died. And even when he died a few years back, I didn't cry. So why does he still affect me? And this is a question that I've been already repeating in some of my other videos, because we have to stop and ask ourselves, why do these people get to affect us? And it's not so much the people, but it is the effect that it had on us. And then when we could identify that, we know what part of us we need to heal. And so the abandon happened when I was still in the womb. So whatever my mother was feeling, I was feeling. And even though I had a stepdad since I was 2, I knew that he wasn't my real dad. So that left some kind of confusion inside me. I remember I didn't really understand. And but that unstable foundation that was laid for me early on in my childhood, and belonging to no one, feeling out of place, disregarded physically and emotionally. As I started to heal, I started with my immediate surroundings, you know, my kids, my relationship, and my initial response to it. So how was my everyday living situation affecting me, and what did I need to do to change it? But that opened a whole new depth of pain that I didn't, that I was not prepared to face, that I didn't know that I had to. And that was the codependency I was hiding under. I had to recognize that I depended on him for unhealthy reasons. And so it was not just him and his bad habits and the bullshit that he did, but also me having to fill that emptiness, using him to fill that emptiness that I had felt since a child. And once I overcame that, there was a second layer to that. And it was the habit and the mannerisms that came along with it that I had to break through as well. And that's something that I was recently got brought to my attention. So I need to make sure that I'm not taking that into my next relationship, because one, it's not healthy. It's a desperate look. Like, you're trying so hard to get this person to love you, and all you really have to do is love yourself and be yourself, and the right person is going to notice that for the right reasons. And so once I worked through that, it made way to open up a whole nother layer of depth and pain that, again, I was not prepared to handle. But at the same time I was, because I already had been meditating, I already had been praying, and when these things got brought up, I really just fell into it. And I embraced it and said, yes, what is it? Let me know. I'm trying to get this shit done so I could keep it pushing and on to the next level. And we're taught that we need external sources to feel happy and complete. And the truth of it is, we need to love ourselves. The pain that we carry around from childhood is what people refer to as the inner child, and we need to learn how to heal it. This situation for me is, like I said, it's current and it's happening just in the last couple of weeks, and it's something that I'm working through. And I wanted to share it with you because I want you guys to see my messy middle. I want you guys to know that you're not the only one going through things, and not to be afraid to admit it. Okay, nobody's perfect, and if they are, they're hiding something. Okay, because nobody's perfect. Nobody has it made. And not to be ashamed of it, not to be afraid to face your fears, and because we're stronger than that. We've managed to overcome a lot of things in our lives, and that could be confirmation that we're meant for something greater, for something bigger than the mess that other people are bringing into our life, and we have the choice to not to let it. And so my lesson here, like I said, my lesson here is still in the process. but when we can learn to recognize when our heart is speaking to us, when I had this breakup, I asked God, what is my lesson? Because I believe there's a lesson in all our pain. And what can I take from this? And when I started to pray and ask God these questions, God started revealing himself to me in a tremendous way. And it was so fast, and it was a lot. But I was ready for it. And he showed me his purpose for me like he's never have before. And it was so obvious that I couldn't ignore it. And all my pain and all my experiences is not in vain, because I'm here today. And all the emotional, I'm happy emotionally, physically, and emotionally. And I just want to tell you guys, don't be a victim. Don't be a victim, and learn and grow from your pain. Believe and have faith in yourself and your power. And when you could start to heal is when it'll bring so much clarity to you, and it'll all make sense, and it'll be okay. Everything that you went through, because it's not even going to matter. You're going to be in such a good place that all you could do is look forward. And you're still standing, because this isn't your final go. This isn't your final call. Okay, if you went through a whole lot and you're still standing, is because God has a bigger plan for you, and you have no idea what it is. And it has to be great, because everything that I went through, and I'm still here, and I'm looking towards the future, and it's exciting. And I pray that you find the courage to seek it. So with that being said, thank you for watching my videos and joining me today. I hope that you got something out of it. And again, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.